Okay, maybe this time I won't forget the personal info at the end. Hello, my name is Louise and welcome to Adventures with Yarn. This is my knitting and crochet YouTube channel in which I talk mainly about the things that I knit and crochet. I am coming at you from the state of Oregon in the United States of America, and I am so thankful that you are here to check me out. If this is your first time, welcome. And if you are already a subscriber, welcome back. As always, if you like what you see, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. You can connect with me. You can do so by commenting at the bottom of this YouTube video, or you can connect with me on Instagram at Adventures with Yarn, or even better, you can join the Adventures with Yarn community at adventureswithyarn.com, our own website, which is like its own social media platform, and in which we host the contests and the groups and all the pictures and crafty goodness. It's awesome. So it is a free website, so if you haven't got a chance to check that out, please do so. Thanks. All right, so I have a couple of works in progress to show you. I have an acquisition to show you, and I actually have someone else's work in progress here in my possession, and I really want to touch on some personal life progress, if you will, that I meant to touch on last week but didn't get around to. So, all right, get something to drink, cozy on up, get your knitting, and let's get into this. Okay, so I have basically been working on two different works in progress. They have been so much fun. I start doing one and I can't hardly tear myself away from it to do the other. So let's just start out with let's see here. I'm going to show you my progress on my Dust of Snow wrap, or I like to call it my Dust of Pink Snow. So this is coming along very nicely. How pretty is this? I am making this with the mini skein advent calendar that I got from Cornbread and Honey. And I am holding it double with pink mohair. And so it is so soft, you guys. Oh my gosh. I can't wait to actually like wrap myself in this for real. I mean, it's like a cloud. It feels so soft. I love it so much. I am kind of ashamed to admit that I was kind of hesitant as I was opening up these mini skeins under the tree during Advent. I was a little bit skeptical, but that was silly. That was silliness because this is so pretty. I think, you know, once I got in my head that I thought it was a fade, it just wasn't fitting into the box that a fade would fit in my mind. But that is okay. I'm really glad that I kept it in the same order that the artist put it in, and you can kind of see it kind of goes between, I feel like it goes back and forth between blues and pinks. And we got up here, let's see if you can see the subtleties of these colors here. We have this really light gray, and then back to some more grays and pinks, and then to an even lighter, a really light gray and pink. And then my next color is just starting up here, more kind of pinks and gray blues. This one's kind of giving me some like Harley Quinn vibes. But I mean, I'm here for it. I love pink. There's never too much pink. I didn't bring up my little bag that's holding all the rest of the minis, but there are more pinks to come. What I'm doing is I'm just winding up like 5 colors at a time, and this is color number 10. So actually I feel like I still have color 11 skeined up in my bag. Somewhere along the line, I wound up, you know, a couple of skeins, mini skeins, and then decided I would do 5, and now I'll do just like in groups of 5 and like work on finishing those before I let myself like cake up the next and look forward, like kind of like look ahead, if you will. But this has been so much fun. So this is a Helen Stewart pattern. I have made it extra long width-wise. I added 2 repetitions. You can do repeats of 12. And I don't think I'm going to regret it. It definitely has enough. There's enough yardage for the mini skeins to be used that way. I'm just really excited to be able to wrap myself up in this. Yes, 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 yes. Oh, look. A progress keeper. So this is where I was last time I filmed. So you can see I made a lot of progress here. This is definitely like one of those projects. It has the potato chipness, meaning you can't, you know, once you start, you can't stop. You've got the changing of the colors, and then you have the pattern itself is relatively memorizable in like these sections. And you kind of have a lot of repeating between the sections. But yeah, so you can see I've made quite a bit of progress, although it has been a couple weeks since I last filmed. There you go. I don't think that I have got to show off these needle stoppers. I hope that this relays onto camera, but these are really nice. I'm using this on this project whenever I'm not actually knitting on this project. I got these from Amanda of Yarnanigans. Sorry, her Instagram is Yarnanigans. She is the maker and designer behind Wallflower Gal Fibers. And I don't know if these are up in her shop yet, as she may have plans for having them there at some point. I love that they're just like rubbery and they have this kind of marbled look on them. They're really nice. So I would keep a lookout on her shop for these. Okay. On to the next project that I can hardly tear myself away from. And that is my Soldotna crop by Caitlin Hunter. Okay, so I have this kind of off the needles, almost. I mean, technically and literally it is off the needles. I have the body finished. I just need to make the sleeves. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this top has given me a lot to think about. I was knitting this and I was knitting the body and I was so excited to be finished. I went for, as the pattern calls for, the amount of repeats in the body that the pattern calls for, which is basically the minimal amount. I think that everyone else I'm seeing that's made this pretty much adds on to the body and makes it longer. As it is, I wonder if I can stand up a little bit here. As it is, it's not very long. You can see here is my waist. Here are my breasts. This is pretty much a little boob sweater. It just I feel like it's like just keeps this section of my body covered, warm. That's it. Which is fine. It is a cropped sweater. I've been thinking a lot about this, thinking, you know, should I lengthen this? Does it look good? I did try it on without the sleeves. Woo. I did try it on without the sleeves. I think what the consensus is I'm going to finish the sleeves, and the sleeves I am going to make longer than recommended, because I do want some coverage of my arms so that I feel comfortable and confident. I don't want to end up feeling, you know, self-conscious about my upper arms. So I'm going to have those covered a bit. But otherwise, I think I may keep it at the length that it is, because what I was thinking is the length that it is right now, although it is short and might look a little silly on top of a dress because it's just so short, like it's just such a short sweater. The length that it's at kind of reaches right above the smallest area of my waist. And for my body type, I think that is basically as good as it's gonna get, especially for a sweater. I would say that my body type is apple. I carry my weight in my tummy. And so for that reason, I'm not wearing this crop sweater with high-waisted jeans because I don't want my tummy sticking out of the jeans. I'm wearing this, I'm planning to wear this with a flowy dress that will kind of hide my tummy. But with it stopping at the smallest part of my waist, it'll be showing the smallest part of my waist, rather than if it were a little bit longer where it would hide the smaller part of my waist and just accentuate what was underneath my waist, like the love handles per se. I put a lot of thought into this. I've gotten a couple of highly respected opinions, and that's what I'm leaning towards doing. That is my plan, but it also will be finishing the sleeves and then putting it on and seeing how it goes. This has been amazing and fun. So much fun to knit. I was super stoked about the fit when I put it on because I have not made very many projects with stranded color work. So I was a little bit nervous about my gauge, about my tension. I measured myself and I was between sizes, and so I chose to go up a size, which I'm very, very grateful for. So this ends up being her size 6. I would say that I measured my bust to be about 50 inches, maybe a smidge less, but I think the sizes were like 48 inches or 52 inches, I do believe. So this does allow for 52-inch bust, but I think with the stranded color work, even though I was trying really hard to keep my tension nice and loose, it's a little bit snug. I feel like the fit is like perfect up in my shoulders and bust area. I have gotten a lot of feedback from my friends based on the picture of me wearing this, that it's a little bit loose right where it does fall, right above the waist. And I think they have in mind that it could look more flattering if it was more closer to the body right there, but I think it's fine. I think for what it is and the style that it's meant to be, the fit that it's I guess meant to be, I think it's fine. So this has been so much fun. Maybe this will be my first finished project. I still don't have a finished object for 2021. Oh my goodness. I have been waiting and waiting to finally actually start my yardage count on the Adventures with Yarn website. I have a specific thread just for that. It's what's the name of it? It's something like Knit-a-thon. So where I am keeping track, or I plan to keep track of the yardage of my finished objects with the hope and goal to knit a marathon's worth of yarn for the year 2021. And I have a few other people on that thread also keeping track of theirs. And I encourage you to do so too if you would like. Similar to Stash Dash, but really you could do whatever you want. Where we can just, show off our knitting and cheer each other on and keep track of the mileage and the yardage. Okay, so can you believe I do have a stitch marker, a progress keeper, sorry, I do have a progress keeper here on the back. I can't hardly believe this is how much progress I got done since I last filmed. I was still on the body, hadn't separated for the sleeves. And yes, this color work, it just was so much fun. And once I got to the body, I was just like, nope, not stopping. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Actually, the bottom ribbing, I did a little bit of practice of knitting in the dark. which is being able to knit without looking is something that I would love to be able to do one day. So I got some practice there. So my Soldotna, and this is made with Knit Picks Swish DK, I do believe. We've got the colors Pine Cone, Blossom is the pink, there's a purple that's I think Amethyst, and the light pink is Frosting. Those are the colors. So much fun. This is so much fun. I mean, I would maybe be even willing to knit this for somebody, like to make someone a Soldotna, especially if they didn't require that big of a size. This seems like this would be a very quick and rewarding knit, especially in a smaller size, because it's a small crop sweater. Anyways, so those are basically the two main projects that I've been knitting on. I do have a couple of socks on the needles, but really the one of them I've been saving for game time, which is when I'm playing board games and I can knit on something mindless, and the other one, honestly, I just haven't picked up since I last filmed, so I'm just going to leave those at the wayside for now. But I do want to get it off the needles because I have some special socks planned to be knitting in the future. Okay, so I want to show you someone else's work in progress. Now this is an interesting little situation. I've never done this before. But my mother asked me if I could finish a sweater for her. It is a sweater that she started making for one of my nieces, and normally that would probably be one of the last things I would want to do. Especially, I mean, when she asked me to do it, she was telling me how she was struggling with the sleeves and could I knit the sleeves for her. And I suppose sleeves might be one of the least desirable parts of the sweater to knit. But it is my mother. I love her and I love my little nieces, so I'm willing to at least give this a go. I have not started yet. I kind of put it off until I had a couple days off, which will be here soon. But I'm willing to try. Her yarn doesn't have labels. She didn't set it with labels. I don't know where this yarn is from. I do know that, let's see if, so we have the top is kind of like a shrug. It looks like a shrug, but it's called the Sloan Square. And we have here the top on these circular needles. We have a sleeve on some DPNs. And the first time I've seen this too, we have a sleeve on a cable needle. Interesting, interesting. I suppose that works. Here we have this yarn here, you can see is just kind of just this marled green and white yarn, and it seems that she has the hem in a solid green color there. So I mean, I'm pretty much, you know, probably content to just keep knitting on what I already have in the works, but like I said, I'm willing to try. So I wanted to show you this as the before. We will see what I can do. It might be kind of fun and nice to be able to have this finished as like a combined, you know, it would have been a combined, or it will be a combined effort gift, a combinedly made gift. We'll see. We will see. She did send it to me with a stack of papers that is the pattern. I'll print it out. I like that her printer paper had, like, you know, her quilting stencils on the back. That's my mom. All right. So I want to show you a acquisition. And this is a yarn dyer that I don't have a lot of experience with, but that may change because this is absolutely gorgeous. So I want to show you this skein of yarn from Maelstrom Fiber Arts. Whoa. Wow. This is called Goth Vampire. It is a 75/25 superwash merino nylon. And oh my gosh, this is just out of this world. It's really soft too. And this color is just so deep and vibrant at the same time. Yeah, I have some special plans, and I think that I'm going to be using this skein of yarn to be making some socks in the near future, and we also will be giving away a skein of this during the event that is planned for that time. So more on that later. But I just wanted to show this off at this time because it is so pretty. It's just so beautiful. And I can't wait to knit this up and see what that kind of sock would look like. All right. So, let's talk real quick again also about what's going on at adventureswithyarn.com besides the knit-a-thon, where I'm keeping track of the yardage and other people are keeping track of the yardage of their finished objects of 2021. And so we can, you know, see how much yardage we get combined individually, and just revel in that. There is also a little contest going on that will have a prize. It is the Great Digital Postcard Rally. So the deal is, instead of going out to your post office to mail or going out to the store physically and getting a physical postcard of, you know, where you live to send to me, which would have been very enjoyable. Instead of doing that, we're doing it in a digital form. So what I'm having people do is go on to adventureswithyarn.com and sign in if you haven't already, create your profile, do that stuff. Join the Adventures with Yarn podcast group, and in that group there is a discussion thread for the digital postcard rally, and I'm having people post a picture, a digital picture of what things look like in their area. So does that kind of make sense? And just kind of telling me a little bit about it. It's been really cool, really fun so far. We've got several people doing it, and it's pretty amazing how much snow there is in other areas of the country right now. I guess there's just not really that much here for me, but there's a lot in other places. And it's so much fun to see like where other people are coming from, what things look like where they are, and especially the snowy winter wonderland photos are so much fun. And so I think I might have accidentally posted 2 dates, February 6th and 7th. But on one of those days, probably February 7th, I will be drawing at random. I'll use a random number generator to pick a post from that thread of someone who posted a picture, and that person is going to get a skein of yarn from Yarnacious, who has so gracefully donated some yarn. It's on the way still, but she is sending me some yarn that I get to give to someone, and I also have some little goodies in the mix too. I think I'm going to assemble some little stitch markers, probably put some goodies together too, why not? And anyways, that is going to be a prize for one lucky winner. So I highly encourage you to check it out. It's been really fun seeing, like I said, seeing the different photos of where people are from, what things look like, where they are. It's been awesome. And so come on over and sign up, join in, and you can be eligible for a prize. All right. So, personal stuff. I did want to share this last time, and I just forgot. I just got caught up in the knitting, and I just forgot. So I have a small batch of new viewers. And so just to kind of catch you up to speed a little bit in my personal life, I am on what is sometimes referred to as a fertility journey. Basically, I have fertility issues and struggles, and so does my husband. And so between the two of us, we are not, or have not been able to get pregnant, have a child. Honestly, the whole reason I started this podcast was to give me something to take my mind off of the stress that I was feeling, and in particular when I got put on medications that were making me hormonal and regulating my cycles, which was great, and which gave me the opportunity to get pregnant, but the opportunity to get pregnant, the maybe, the might, the hoping, and then finding out I wasn't, just like over and over and over, it got really stressful. And so Adventures with Yarn was started. It's been a couple years. I think it maybe has been 2 years. We have been trying to get pregnant for about 4 years. But like I said, this podcast started to give me joy and kind of a little distraction, and it really, really has done that. So we've, over the years, we've tried medications. Come to find out, I had a large cyst on my ovary. And so that had to be taken out. I had to have surgery. My left ovary didn't make it through the surgery. It was too enmeshed in the cyst, which was large. It was like 18 centimeters in diameter. Maybe someday I'll take out the yarn ball because I gotta start chipping away at that yarn ball. I wound up yarn to be the size of that cyst, and it was kind of unreal. It was a little disturbing, kind of funny. But I told myself that I wouldn't start using that yarn until I had the cyst taken out. But then of course I got distracted, started knitting on other things. So I do believe I have that full size yarn ball. I should make a goal of knitting from that this year. That could be a good idea. Anyway, so I had the surgery. Also, my husband's been on medications to help improve his numbers. Lots of different things. We did have a certain instance where I was going to do IUI, which stands for intrauterine insemination. Basically, that's, in layman's terms, using a turkey baster, if you will. Basically, it involves going into the clinic on the day that you're ovulating, and they kind of manually put the semen sample up in there, which is much less expensive than IVF, which is the in vitro fertilization. So we thought, okay, we'll give that a go. We'll do it. And we could do that at my own gynecologist office here in the town that I live, which was much less expensive than us going to the leading hospital in Oregon, which is about 1 hour drive from here. But I had a pretty crushing experience on the day that I tested positive for ovulation, where I would have gone into the office, because you have like 12-hour window from when you test positive for ovulation to go in there and have them put it in there. It was a Saturday, and I assumed that they would be open because the clinic has like urgent care open on Saturdays, but the actual OBG clinic was not open. So I was all excited, ready to go. I'm thinking, here we go. I call and they're just like, no, sorry, we're not open on Saturdays. We don't operate on Saturdays. And I'm just thinking like, well, what am I supposed to do? Like, I honestly, when that happened, I stayed home from traveling for my first niece's first birthday, because I thought that I needed to stay and get this done so that I could try to have a chance at getting pregnant. And it broke my heart to not be able to travel, and then for this to just fall through like that, it was devastating. And at that point, they were already offering to refer me to a technically a fertility specialist. And that was their answer too. And I was like, oh my gosh, you know, I moved my life around for this. What am I supposed to do? And they're like, well, we're not a fertility clinic. Anyways, so I did. So then I said, okay, go ahead. Refer me. We'll travel. We'll go up there. We'll get this done. And then the pandemic happened. That put, you know, pause on a lot of things. But then things started getting rolling again. Right before the pandemic, we had started on some blood work, some tests that were needed. Then the pandemic happened, we had to pause, but then they started going again. So that brings me around to what's going on right now. And that is that I am starting the IVF process. So if you're unfamiliar, IVF is in vitro fertilization, and that is basically the process in which they will end up creating embryos for my hopeful and potential children outside of my body and outside of my husband's body. So what that all entails is I'm on medication, and I have been for several weeks. And only just a couple days ago, I started giving myself shots in the tummy. Let's talk about that for a second. Okay, I work as a nurse, and I can give people shots all day long, but I've never given myself a shot until 2 days ago. And whoa, oh wow, it's really trippy. It really doesn't feel natural that anyone should get stabbed with a needle like that. I mean, it's like an inch long needle, so it's not intramuscular yet. At this time, this medication just goes into the skin and the fat right under the skin, and that's how it's absorbed. But giving myself a shot, I had to really psych myself up for that. Let me tell you, I would pinch the skin on my tummy and just had to like flick my arm so that it went in. And it was awesome that it didn't hurt, because I mean, it's a sharp needle going in fast. It didn't hurt, but the experience itself was, I just had to get over the heebie-jeebies. The second one wasn't as bad as the first, and the third one, which was this morning, was the easiest one yet. So by the end, I should be a pro. Basically now, I have an ultrasound this week, up at the fertility, we'll just call it the fertility clinic. It's basically the largest hospital in Oregon. You could say the leading fertility clinic, the leading hospital in Oregon. And we have to drive up there, and we're going to be signing a lot of consent forms this week, which is something exciting that we've been like leading up to this moment. And then this weekend, I'm going to have to start different shots, which are also still sub-Q, which means subcutaneous. That means in the skin rather than in the muscle, which is a smaller needle than in the muscle. But I'll have to be doing that morning and night for about like a little more than a week. And then next week, during the week, I basically have to have an ultrasound every other day. And what's going on is they're going to be stimulating my ovary, the one ovary that I have left, because the other one was enmeshed in the cyst, and they couldn't save it. They had to take it out. So the one ovary that I have left, they're going to stimulate it to create as many eggs as it can. And then that's why they're doing the ultrasounds, to be watching and measuring the eggs. Once as many eggs as possible are of mature size, that's when we do the trigger shot, which is the intramuscular shot. It is in the back side, kind of like at the bottom of the love handle area. I have a special nursey friend who has agreed to do it because I don't want to try to reach around and poke myself there. And my husband is not up for that kind of thing. That's just not his area of expertise. So I have a nursey friend. She's my nursing bestie, actually. We went to nursing school together, and she's a good friend of mine. So it'll be great. She'll give me the trigger shot. that will trigger the ovary to release all the eggs. And then about 35 hours after that is when I will have an actual procedure. A procedure that will be under conscious sedation, which means I will be heavily sedated with drugs. And then they'll go in and they'll harvest all the eggs. From there, that's kind of, as far as I understand, from there, that's where a lot of the we will see factors come into play. So we'll see how many eggs they're able to harvest, how many are of good quality, and then they take a sample from my husband, and because his numbers are still very low, we have a frozen sample on standby. They're gonna clean the samples, take out the strongest swimmers, if you will, and they do something called ICSI, which is a process of like them taking the tiniest little needle, and they specifically take like an individual sperm and actually like physically put it in an individual egg. And so they will do that, and then we'll see how many of those start developing into viable embryos at about 5 to 8 days, I believe, after the fertilization. So they expect, I think they only expect about a third of the eggs that we harvest to be viable, and then of those that are fertilized, they expect about a third of those. So it's kind of this whole, you know, how many will we have to start with, how many will we have after these, you know, processes that will still be good. It really is a range of what could happen next. We could end up with a lot of options. We could end up with no options and have to go back and do another egg retrieval. Who knows? Or ideally, we will have a couple at least of really healthy embryos, and in that way, they will transfer one into me, and hopefully it will implant and grow, and we'll have a viable pregnancy. And if that's the case, we can freeze the remaining healthy and viable looking embryos for next time, for future pregnancies. So yeah, it's all kinds of stressful and exciting, and I'm kind of balancing, trying to juggle and figure out, you know, what my work schedule is going to be like. I'm going to end up being on a lifting restriction here pretty soon. Just a lot, and keeping track of the different medications I'm taking at all different. I feel like I've got a med to take in the morning, I've got a med to take at lunchtime, I got 2 pills to take at dinner time, and then I have my nighttime pill, and then I have these morning injections on certain days. Like I said, next week there'll be a morning and nighttime injection. I do have it all mapped out on a physical calendar, which helps keep me organized, and I just kind of look at it week by week and figure out, okay, what are we doing this week? This is what's going on next week. So yeah, and I am already starting to feel a little bit emotional. I think it's the hormones. Some of the medication really upsets my tummy. And so it's just, wow, but it's all worth it. I hope it will all be worth it in the end. But I just wanted to share that with you guys, because I know I've shared some stuff about my fertility journey in the past, and some of you have been keeping up with that. So yeah, so if you've taken the time to listen this long, thanks, thank you. Let me know what you think down in the comments. You know, I realize that this type of thing doesn't necessarily align with everyone's belief system. But for me, you know, I've always wanted to be a mother. Actually, my preschool graduation, when they asked everyone what they wanted to be when they grew up, and I said a mommy, which is kind of silly and cute. But I really do feel like I really want to be a mother, and I do feel, you know, relatively early on in the process, I felt like I could sense God's promise to me that I would be a mother in some way, and whether that is to my own biological child or maybe to an adopted child in the future, but that, you know, that there's hope. There's still hope. It's not hopeless. And anyways, I'm excited. I'm excited to embark on this adventure. All right, well, like I said, if you have been paying attention this long, thank you so much. As always, if you like what you see, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Please come check out adventureswithyarn.com. We're having so much fun over there, interacting and making friends and showing off pictures. And join the contest, the Great Digital Postcard Rally. Yay! All right, guys, take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye.